Part 1, The Discovery. The air in the abandoned castle was thick with dust, and the faint sound of creaking wood echoed through the empty halls. I thought it was just the wind, until I saw it. A hidden door. Its edges were barely visible, covered by centuries of neglect. It wasn't on any blueprints. It didn't belong. I ran my fingers across the stone, feeling a strange chill. Something about it didn't sit right, but curiosity overpowered my fear. I pushed. The door gave way with a groan. What I found inside made my heart race. A room full of relics, artifacts too old, too beautiful to be anything but priceless. I couldn't believe it. There, amidst the decay, were paintings, sculptures, and letters from centuries ago. They were perfect, untouched by time. But as I took a step closer, a strange feeling washed over me. It was as if something, or someone, was watching. I reached for a letter, my fingers trembling, and that's when I saw it. The name written at the top. A name I knew all too well. My family's name. And then the lights flickered. The door slammed shut. What was this place really hiding? Part 2, The Secret History. The next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me out of the castle. The letter, the name, it haunted me. I needed answers. I spent hours combing through the documents in the room, piecing together the past. The castle had been home to generations of my ancestors, but there was something darker in the stories. They weren't just builders, architects. They were protectors, of something I couldn't yet understand. In one of the letters, there was a mention of the key, but it wasn't a literal key. It referred to something much more dangerous. The letter warned that whoever found it would wake the sleeping beast. I felt a chill run down my spine. The words were clear: don't disturb the past. Don't open what's been sealed away. But I had to. The deeper I went, the more desperate I became to know the truth. I had already disturbed it. And now, something in the castle was stirring. I could hear it. Faint whispers in the walls. Was it my ancestors trying to warn me, or something far worse? Part 3, The Unraveling. Every night, the whispers grew louder. By the third night, they weren't whispers anymore. They were voices, clear as day. I thought I was losing my mind. The voices, the shadows, I had to get out. But every time I tried to leave, something pulled me back. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was compulsion. I knew I had to go back into the room. It was like something was calling me. I couldn't ignore it. Not after everything I had uncovered. I found a map, hidden beneath the floorboards. It led me to a secret passage, deep beneath the castle. What I found down there wasn't just another room, it was a vault. And the vault contained the key. I reached for it, my hands shaking, and the air turned cold. The moment I touched it, the ground trembled. The walls began to crack, and the castle seemed to come alive. It wasn't just a building, it was a prison. But for what? Part 4, The Awakening. The moment I pulled the key from the vault, I felt it. The power coursing through the air. The castle was awake. And so was whatever it was holding inside. Suddenly, the door to the vault slammed shut behind me, trapping me inside. The ground shook harder now, like the earth itself was trying to swallow me whole. The whispers turned to screams. And then, I saw it. A figure, pale and ghostly, emerging from the shadows. It was alive, but not in the way I expected. It was a woman, or at least, it once was. Her face was twisted in agony, her eyes wide with terror. She stepped closer, and I froze. I knew her. It was my great-great-grandmother, but that wasn't possible. She had died before I was born. You've opened it, she whispered, her voice rasping. You've awakened the curse. The castle was built to keep them locked away. And now, they were free. The curse had been passed down, generation after generation. And now, it was my turn. I turned to run, but the walls closed in around me. The castle wasn't just haunted by the past, it was alive. And it wanted me. Part 5, The Choice. I had a decision to make. Run and try to escape the curse that had haunted my family for centuries, or stay and find a way to stop it from spreading. The whispers were louder now. More voices, more shadows, closing in on me from all sides. I ran, but the castle wouldn't let me go. The halls twisted and shifted, leading me deeper into the darkness. No matter which way I turned, I couldn't escape. I reached the center of the castle. There was a door. It was the same door from the beginning. The door I hadn't opened when I first arrived. But now, it was calling me. I reached for the handle, hesitated, and then opened it. And everything went black. I don't know what happened after that. But when I woke up, the castle was silent. And there was no one left to tell the story. Part 6, The Price of Truth. I woke in a cold, empty room. The air was still, like the castle had fallen into an unnatural silence. My heart raced, but there was no sound, no whispers, no echoes of the madness that had surrounded me just hours before. I sat up, disoriented, trying to piece together the events that led me here. The door, the key, the figure that looked like my grandmother. It felt like a nightmare, but everything was real, too real. I stood and moved toward the door. It creaked open, revealing a long corridor I hadn't seen before. Everything looked different now. The walls were bare, the floor pristine, almost as if the castle had been restored overnight. But something was off. I could feel it in my bones. The weight of 1,000 secrets pressing against me. I wasn't alone. As I walked, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, but no one was there. I tried to ignore the chill crawling up my spine, but it grew harder with every step. The deeper I went, the more the castle seemed to twist around me. Rooms that didn't exist before, hallways that led nowhere, everything had changed. And yet, it all felt strangely familiar. I entered a room I hadn't seen during my restoration project. Inside, a large mirror stood against the wall. As I approached it, my reflection stared back, but it wasn't me. It was her again, the woman from the vault, my great-great-grandmother. She smiled, but there was no warmth in her expression. The cold, lifeless eyes locked onto mine, and I felt something shift in the air. "You're part of it now," she whispered, her voice more chilling than ever. "You opened the door. You let it out." My heart stopped. The realization hit me with the force of a freight train. I hadn't just uncovered the castle's past, I had become a part of it. And whatever curse had been locked away for generations, it was now mine to bear. I stepped back from the mirror, my mind racing. How could this be? Was I trapped in some twisted version of my own reality? Then, as if to answer my question, the reflection in the mirror changed. It wasn't my grandmother anymore. It was me. Part 7, The Reflection. I froze. The figure in the mirror was me, but not the man I had been just moments before. This version of me was different, twisted, distorted. His eyes were cold, empty, and his smile, it wasn't mine. "You wanted the truth," the reflection said. "Now you have it. The castle is yours, and you will carry its curse." I backed away, heart pounding. This wasn't just about the castle anymore. It was about me, my family, my bloodline, my soul. The walls seemed to close in around me, the air growing thicker with every passing second. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think straight. Every step felt heavier than the last, as though the weight of generations of secrets was bearing down on me. The reflection in the mirror spoke again, its voice low, mocking. "You thought you could restore the past, but the past never lets go. Not for you, not for anyone." I reached for the mirror, desperate to smash it, to end the madness. But the moment my hand touched the glass, everything around me shattered. The room, the walls, the very air itself, it all fractured into pieces. And then, I heard a voice, clearer than any I had heard before. A voice from the past. "Welcome home." Part 8, The Curse Unleashed. I awoke with a jolt, gasping for air. The room was gone. The castle was gone. The mirror, the cursed reflection, the whispers, they were all gone. But I wasn't free. I was back in the same room, the same hallway, the same castle. Everything was as it had been before, but now, it was different. The castle was alive, and it was waiting for me. I ran through the halls, desperate to escape, but there was no way out. Every door led to the same place, every hallway stretched endlessly, no matter which direction I took. And then I heard it, the sound of footsteps. Not behind me this time, beside me. I turned, and there, standing in the doorway, was my reflection. But it wasn't just in the mirror anymore. It had escaped. And now, it was alive. "It's too late," my reflection said, its voice echoing in the castle. "You wanted to know the truth. Now you'll live it." I knew then. The castle hadn't just been holding secrets. It had been holding me, my fate, my curse. And there was no escaping it now. I was trapped in a never-ending cycle. A cycle of restoration, of discovering the past, and being consumed by it. As I stepped forward into the darkness, I realized the truth. The castle wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was haunted by time. And now, it had claimed me. The end, or the beginning. Part 9, The Unseen Truth. I stood at the edge of the precipice, staring into the void. It wasn't like any darkness I had ever encountered before. It was as if time itself was bending, folding in on itself. Every step I took felt like it pushed me deeper into a truth I hadn't wanted to face. The castle, the key, my ancestors. It was all part of something much larger than I had ever imagined. The reflection wasn't just a twisted version of me. It was the truth of my family, their mistakes, their choices, their endless loop of regret. The castle had been built to keep them trapped, to keep them bound to the past. and I had been foolish enough to think I could restore it, fix it, unlock it. But no one could fix something that was never meant to be repaired. The walls closed in on me again, but this time, I didn't panic. I had learned something. The castle's curse wasn't about the past, it was about what we didn't let go of. The mistakes, the secrets, the things we thought we could bury and forget. As I stood there, something changed. The air grew colder. And then, the floor beneath me shifted. Slowly, the stone cracked open, revealing a new passage, one I had never seen before. A path leading deeper into the bowels of the castle, deeper into its truth. I could hear her voice again, my great-great-grandmother. Her words were soft, but they pierced through the silence. "It ends with you." Those words. They echoed in my mind, over and over, until they became my own. The curse would only end when I made the choice. The choice to either continue the cycle or break it forever. I stepped forward into the darkness, feeling the weight of my family's legacy on my shoulders. But this time, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't running. I knew what I had to do. I walked deeper, toward the unknown, toward the truth that had eluded me for so long. The castle had no more secrets to keep. It was mine now, my story, my future. The moment I crossed the threshold, the world around me shifted. The darkness receded, and I saw something new. Not the crumbling walls of the castle, but something alive. Something full of possibility. I had broken free. And as I stood there, I realized that the key had never been in the castle at all. It had always been with me. The end.